Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where you have, lots of curly hair and lots of straight hair today. We were having a hair discussion off the air.
I should have worn my natural hair today.
You should have worn your little Orphan Annie wig, and you would have matched me. No, I'm just kidding. Our good friend Savanna's back from Necco, and we are going to talk about some cool things that you have going on coming up and, fostering.
Yeah.
And you were here not too long ago.
June, I think.
I mean, it could have been a year. It could have been 2 years or 2 months. I don't know.
I think it's around 3 or 4 months.
No, welcome back to the show. And we had such a good discussion the last time you were here. Learned quite a bit about your organization, about foster parents and the kids and how they end up there. And a lot of it's surprising.
It is. It really is. Speaking of surprising, I don't know if the last time I was here I discussed the number, but our corporate page started posting numbers of kids that our offices have had to turn away. I can't remember what it was. I don't think I brought it up last time, but I think around that time it was like over 2,000 kids that our offices had to turn away across 5 states. That number has gone down a little bit, but it's still it's like, I think last month was 1,300 kids. And we have offices in Indiana, West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, and Georgia. And that's how many across those 5 states, 1,300 kids we had to turn away because we don't have enough foster homes.
Okay, so we need to fix that.
We do need to fix that.
Yeah, and the last time you were here, we talked a little bit about, we talked a lot, but about, how the kids end up there. A lot of it's surprising. A lot of it, kids aren't bad. Kids don't choose.
No, they don't.
To have, this stuff happen to them. And fortunately, there are a lot of angels out there that become foster parents and whatever, but we could always use more.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about your agency for a minute. In case people missed the last time you were here, kind of like what you all do.
So I work for Necco Foster Care in South Point. We are a foster care agency, primarily foster care, but we do offer, I can't talk this morning, it's too early. We offer foster to adopt, which can kind of be misconstrued because some people call wanting to adopt, and we have to tell them that we are primarily a foster care agency and you can foster to adopt, but that doesn't mean that the first placement you get will become the child that you adopt. It could be 3, 4, 5, 6 placements before you get a child that becomes adoptable. But it does happen. We've already had, I think, over 10 adoptions this year. So, last year we had we either had 19 or 20 last year. And we've had a lot this year already. So it is definitely possible, but I always try to keep it real because I don't want people getting their hopes up coming into it thinking that the first child they get will be the child that they get to adopt, and then that child gets reunified and their heart gets broken, and then they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I try to be transparent from the jump and tell them it might take a little while. It could take years. I mean, even if that child becomes adoptable, it could take years for that to go through. That child could be in your care for a year and a half before they become adoptable. They have to be in your care for 6 months either way, even if they're already adoptable or if they become adoptable. Either way, they have to be in your care for 6 months. But I just always try to be transparent and say, like, we do foster to adopt. I mean, we do an adoption only home study, but as far as that goes, is like you do the training the same way you would for foster care.
Okay.
And we don't, like, you have to go, like, get your own lawyer, find the child that is adoptable. Like, we don't do any of that. We just do the adoption only home study. That way, if an adoption agency calls us and is like, hey, can you send us their info? We have that for you.
Are these good people? Are they?
Yeah.
Are they
and we
screened?
have
You're
their
screened.
home study.
Yeah.
But it's just about the same process as fostering. They just don't end up fostering. So that's why we usually tell people to go the foster to adopt route, because it's just easier, because you're doing the same training and all the same paperwork that you would for an adoption home study. So yeah,
that makes sense. And it's probably good that the child has to be in the home for a certain amount of time, just to make sure it's a good fit and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So
and that's what
that makes sense.
6 months, regardless of if that child is already adoptable when you get them or if they end up becoming adoptable, because like you said, got to make sure it's a good fit. And 6 months is usually probably a good time period for, I guess, the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, sure.
So 6 months, it's usually a good enough time period, I would assume. I don't know for sure, to tell if that child is going to be a good fit for you or if there's another family that that child would do better with.
Yeah. So let's back up for a minute, and I know I don't want to keep you here the whole time, but how do kids end up in foster care? Because again, it's kind of like some of the other things that we talk about, addiction and whatever. Like, unless you've been personally affected by it or seen it, you don't even realize that it happens.
Yeah, you don't. And you don't realize how prevalent it is in Southern Ohio.
Is it like it's a big thing?
It's a huge thing, and it becomes bigger and bigger every month, every year. I think it's going to continue to become an issue. I think it just has been persistent. I mean, I've only been in social work for a year, and I've seen a lot in that short period of time. So I can't imagine how much worse it's going to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, our area especially really needs foster parents, because all the counties that we cover, I mean, referrals come in almost every day for children who need a home. So it's many different reasons a child could come into foster care. Like you said, addiction, things like that. Addiction, child abuse, neglect, and neglect can carry a lot of different things. Neglect could just be like unfit home, like the home is just not clean and stuff like that. And it could be a number of things, like you said, addiction, child abuse, neglect, a whole range of things. And that's usually how a child ends up in foster care. And sometimes that child becomes adoptable, and sometimes that child ends up going back to their parents, which is great. I mean, if a child is able to go back to their family and it's a loving environment and that child is going to succeed in that environment, then I don't see any reason that reunification. But for the children who don't get to go back home, our job is to find a foster home for those children either way, and a family that will love that child no matter how long they are placed in their care, either temporarily or permanently.
Right.
So we just try to always make sure that a child is going to be in a loving home where they can succeed and be nurtured. And, if they end up going back home, that child had a family that loved them, and maybe they learned something that they didn't know before they were in foster care. And even if a child does go back to their biological parents, sometimes they keep the relationships with their foster families. We have a lot of foster families who have had placements be reunified with their biological family, but they still have relationships with. They still have play dates with either the kids that they've adopted or have in care now, or become somewhat of a babysitter or an aunt or something to that child. So
Yeah. You just gain
yeah,
an extra
and
support system.
and I think that's a big hesitation, is the attachment. I think that's a reason a lot of people are scared to become foster parents, is because they're like, I'm going to get attached. And I tell them, I'm like, you will get attached. You will love that child.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're
yeah,
not
I
going to get
hope.
attached, there's something bad wrong.
There's a problem if you don't.
Yeah.
That is a bigger concern.
Yeah.
But you will get attached, and I mean, you will get your heart broken. I'm not going to lie, but that should not be a reason to not do it, because that child is going to know that you love them regardless. And just because that child goes home doesn't mean that you will never get to talk to or see that child again. You can be that extra family member for that child once they go home. And then, if a child doesn't go home, you can end up adopting them and then giving them a forever home. And I mean, we have a family, we have older couples who have no intention of adopting because they are older, but they foster and they love those kids and provide those kids with whatever they're able to. We have one couple who've done it for 26 years. They've been with Necco for 26 years.
That is amazing.
And then we have another couple who we certified them right before Christmas last year. They were foster parents in Grayson before they moved to Ohio, and they became certified with us. And they don't want to adopt, but they take teen girls, and they love taking teen girls because she's like, I can go get my nails done. I take them to get their nails done with me. We do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So we have plenty of families who foster to adopt, and then we have families who just foster and nurture those children and try to give them the best life they can before they age out. And then even after they age out, they keep that relationship and are there for them whenever they need someone.
And that's a whole other situation. You just talked about aging out. So as a foster child, and you said teenage girls, or, just think teenagers for a moment, when you think about fostering, maybe you think about babies or little kids, but there are older children that need homes.
Absolutely.
As well.
Teenagers are just as much in need. And people hesitate with babies with teenagers because they think they're going to be difficult. But I'm like, I would rather have a teenager than a baby. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, listen, we have all had the discussion here about my lack of baby changing prowess. And it is not like the only diaper I've ever changed in my life is at the Apple Festival, baby stroller race contest. So, yeah, babies terrify me. So, I'd be all about taking an older kid.
And that's with the aging out. So a child can, excuse me, I had a Lonnie on my way here. So I'm like.
for as you drove for an hour and 9 minutes.
And 9 minutes.
It's an hour and 9 minutes.
Not an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 9 minutes. Like I said, I think I cut a little bit of that off, but no one needs to know that.
We won't tell the popo on you.
But so technically a child can stay in foster care. It's 0 to 18, but a child can actually stay, not necessarily in foster care, but we have this thing called a Bridges program, which I think a lot of counties agencies offer that too. So Bridges, what that is once a child turns 18, even though they're technically aging out, Bridges offers them assistance until they are 21. So Bridges helps them find jobs. If they want to go to school, they help with schooling. They help get them apartments, set up bank accounts, help them get cars, whatever.
Yeah.
Basically just help them transition into the adult world, because adulting is hard for anybody. Transitioning from college to not being in college was an adjustment for me. So I can't even imagine just being thrown out into the real world
correct
at 18. So Bridges is a really great thing where we have any teenager that is getting ready to age out will enroll in Bridges, and then Bridges will support them and help them however they can until they turn 21. And I think that's a really great thing because, like I said, it's really hard for these kids already. So a lot of them have a really hard time as they start to get closer to that birthday where they're going to turn 18.
Good God,
so
that has to be terrifying for
Yeah.
them.
yeah.
Like,
And
I'm going to be
so-
on my own.
Yeah. So Bridges, and they don't even have to move out. They can stay with their foster family until they turn 21. And then, like I said, if they want to go
Cool.
to school or something, Bridges helps them like set up bank accounts, helps them if they want to go to school, helps them get an apartment or find a place to live, helps
Super.
them with all those adulting things that no one wants to talk
Can
about.
I join that program?
Yeah, right? So it helps. It's really a great thing. And I'm really blessed and lucky to work where I do and to see so many children become successful and just see so many children be loved the way
Yeah.
they deserve to be loved. Because like you said, children don't choose this.
They don't ask for
No.
any of
No.
this.
And that's what I think is hard. I think some people, like, obviously kids have behaviors already. So add what they've been through on top of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people have to understand is like, these kids didn't choose for this.
No.
So even though they're acting out at any age, you just have to understand that they did not choose this. I mean, like I said, kids that have behaviors even when they don't experience anything traumatic or anything.
Listen,
like,
we're all a bunch of little buttholes sometimes.
yeah, I'm like,
so,
it doesn't
you know,
like kids are gonna like be brats either way.
Yeah,
So
right.
because I'm like, I know I probably was. So
Oh yeah, like we all. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a thing of growing up,
Yeah.
and growing up is hard.
Mhm.
It is not for the faint of heart,
No.
and you know, it's there's a lot that kids have to go through,
Yeah.
even in a normal environment's not the word, in a environment where you don't have other issues
Yeah.
going on.
I think everybody is always growing up. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're
Yeah.
still growing up.
Yeah.
So put that on top of things that we haven't been through, then you're really gonna struggle to understand, I guess, your feelings and stuff. So that's why it becomes important to have a nurturing environment that helps you understand those feelings. And when
Yeah.
you become a teenager and age out, having something to support you, like our Bridges program is really special because they're still helping and nurturing you after you've turned 18.
That
So
is awesome. So, what is the difference between like your organization and maybe like Job and Family Services or something like that? Do you all work together, I
Yes.
assume? So, you're just a private kind
Yes,
of
yes.
organization that helps
yes.
supplement what they're doing.
And we're
right?
not, like I said, we're primarily a foster care agency. So we're also different than an adoption agency, where adoption
Yes.
agencies typically don't do foster care. We're primarily a foster care agency, but we are a private agency. So we work with the counties, and that's how we get our referrals for children.
Okay.
And kind of how that works is, say you're a foster parent, one of the things in the process of being certified is called a criteria checklist. And
Okay.
a criteria checklist is so detailed. Like, it's pages of like check marks of what you think you can handle when taking a child and what you don't think you could handle, like ages, siblings, gender, any medical conditions, medical disabilities, any mental health history,
Okay.
anything that like any type of medical history, any type of whatever, like yes or no, I will accept, I will not accept, blah, blah, blah.
So, you just have to be honest about it.
So, yes. And so what happens is we will get a referral from a county, and they'll say, so what we will do is we will give you as much information as we are provided. And sometimes that is not very much information at all. And sometimes it's a lot of information. So what we do is we take the age, the gender, and any additional information that we're provided. And we're like, okay, so this family will take this age and this gender and these behaviors, or if a child doesn't have any behaviors, we'll just go off the age
Sure.
and the gender. And if, let's say, you fell in that criteria, we will call you and be like, hey, we have this placement. Do you think this is a good fit for you? If you say yes, then that child will become a placement in your home.
So, I would have to think that a lot of this happens pretty quickly.
Yes,
Like,
very quickly.
not like, hey, in 2 weeks you're going to have a child
No,
coming into
it's
your
hey,
home. In 2 minutes,
Yeah,
they're-
in 30 minutes, an hour. So as soon as we get a referral, we start calling foster parents that will take a child in that age range. So if it's a
Wow.
baby, we'll call anybody who's criteria checklist is geared toward babies. If it's a teenager, we'll go through and find our families who have the teenage age range. If it's an elementary school age child, we'll go through and find our families who are like 0 to 8, 0 to 10.
Okay.
So that's usually how it works.
Well, because I'm just sitting here thinking, and I know part of your like home study or your, I think, what do you call it?
Yeah, it's a home study.
Home study is that you would have to assess people's homes. And, you know, some people aren't equipped to have babies, or some people have all the baby stuff but don't have stuff for older kids or whatever. So even though, you know, you might think, oh man, we love these people and we want them to take this baby, they don't have anything. You can't just run out and buy all the baby stuff in the world. Like,
and with that, so one of the things is like, if we have a family that has only like one extra bedroom, obviously you would think that like, oh, that's one placement. You can put up to 4 children in one room. That's not necessarily ideal, and I don't think we have people that do that. So like, but if they're over age 5, they have to be the same gender. So if you get a placement for a girl and you only have one extra bedroom, but you have 2 beds, you can take 2 girls.
Okay.
Or you can take 2 boys if they're over age 5.
Okay.
So if they're under age 5, then you could have a boy and a girl, but you'd have to make accommodations for, if one of them is 4, you're either going to have to add an extra bedroom or something.
Okay.
For when that child turns 5, because they'll have to have their own room if it's a boy and a girl in the same room.
Gotcha.
But if they're over age 5 and it's 2 girls or 2 boys, they can just stay in that room for however many years and if you adopt them, then they can still stay in that room. And
they would probably, I would have to think that some kids would just get a big kick out of that.
They do.
having like,
I think a lot of
roommate,
kids like having like shared rooms, because we do have kids who share rooms. I think they enjoy having someone else in their room and having someone to play with, because obviously if you're over age 5, you're going to have another boy if you're a boy, so you'll have someone to hang out with all the time. If you're a girl, you'll have another girl in your room. For me personally, no, because when my mom got pregnant with my brother, I was terrified that it was going to be a girl. I did not want a little sister, because I was just like, no,
I don't want to share my stuff.
And I was like, I don't want to share you. I don't want to share my stuff. Like, in my mind, when my mom got pregnant, I was like, if she has another girl, she's going to love that girl more than me. I don't want a little sister. So when I had a little brother, I thought that he was mine. I was like, this is my baby doll.
Yes.
So for me personally, I don't think I mean, I'm sure if I had to and I had a little sister that I would have had to share a room with, I would have loved it, but I didn't have to. So
yep. It's kind of all what we're used to.
Yeah. So I think it would have been fun if it was something that would have happened, but I had a little brother, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I think for little girls, it's fun to have someone to share your room with, because you have someone to have your dolls with, clothes, and like dress up each other and stuff like that. Especially if one's older than the other, then you know that they're going to use the little one as their baby doll, as I did with my little brother. So
yeah, no, and that was one of the fun things. Like, so I grew up with 2 much older brothers, and then there was me. Now my mother says that I was not an accident. I was a surprise.
Isn't that kind of?
I mean, it kind of makes me.
That's what my brother was. So he wasn't an accident. He was a surprise. So
it made me feel a little bit better, but anyway. But no, so kind of growing up, I almost grew up as an only child.
Because your brothers were older.
Yeah, and so even in going to college and having a roommate and having like all the girls on the floor and stuff, that was fun for me, because, you know, it was like, oh gosh, we can all share clothes and like makeup and shoes and all this fun stuff. So
I mean, that's kind of how it is now for me, having best friends. I'm like, when we were getting ready or something, I'm like, can I borrow this? Like, I went to Florida with one of my best friends, and I was like having an outfit crisis, and I was like, I don't know what to wear, and she was like, oh, I have this dress, you can wear it. And I put it on. I was like, oh my gosh, okay,
love it. So these shoes will look so cute with that outfit.
So it is kind of handy having that, because it does come in handy. So I understand,
but we digress. being girls is so much fun. No,
It's not hard at all. It's so easy.
Yeah, right. But no, so you guys have an open house coming up that we
Yes.
haven't even gotten to yet.
No.
But this is exciting.
Yes. So before I started, and I think before COVID, because I started last September, and they had just, I think that summer, they had just returned to in-person training. So they had been doing online virtual training from, I guess, March 2020 to June 2021.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too long after, like, before I started, that they had just gone back to in-person training.
Gotcha.
And so before COVID, they used to do meet and greets every Monday, not every Monday, the first Monday of every month.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to bring that back and see if we got any retention from it. But I thought starting with an open house would just see what kind of traction we get to see if we start doing that regularly again to bring it back. But yeah, we're having an open house this Monday from 6 to 8 in our South Point office.
Oh.
It is, if you're coming from this location, it would probably be an hour and 9 minutes. But if you're coming from further, it might be an hour and 15, hour and 20.
If you don't drive, if you drive like Savanna, you'll get there faster.
Yes. But that's from my house, and my work is about 6 or 7 minutes from my house. So it might be, it would roughly be an hour and 15 minutes probably.
Okay.
But it's Monday from 6 to 8, and we will have food, and we're doing a raffle with door prizes. And not only will I be there, but my supervisor will be there, our licensing team, and then a couple of case managers.
Okay.
And I wanted to do that because I thought it would ease anybody who's kind of hesitant to become a foster parent who might come, because the whole point of it is to just give information for people who are interested. And I thought having the case managers and my supervisor there to answer any questions about things that I might not deal with on a daily basis, because I'm on the licensing team. So my job is different from what a case manager sees every day.
Yeah.
So I just thought having different people there on our team to answer different questions would kind of help ease anybody's hesitation. So yeah, if you're interested, 6 to 8 on Monday, like I said, we'll have food and a raffle with door prizes, and I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping for a good turnout. And, you know, I've been trying to go to all the counties we cover to try and just pass out flyers and get the word out, and that's a lot of counties. I went to Chillicothe last week because that's one of our counties we share with our Columbus office. So just anybody who is interested can come, as long as you're an Ohio resident and you're 21 and over. So yeah.
So, and here's the deal. If you come to the open house, like, they're not going to lock the door and not let you out until you sign up to be a foster parent or anything like that. It's just to come hang out and learn information and meet everybody and just have some
basically
punch and hang out.
All the information that I would take to an event, like the pamphlets or flyers and stuff, will have that. And the difference in this and like the information I bring to all the events I do is that we will have more people on our team. And you will be in our office, so you will see like where you would be doing your trainings every week for 8 weeks. And you just kind of get familiar with us. And it really is just for anybody who wants to learn more. Maybe you've thought about it, and like I said, you're hesitant and you have some concerns. We'd love to ease those concerns and provide you with any information. Or maybe you are interested and you just want to meet us first. That's absolutely awesome too. So
that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, if you come Monday and you decide you want to start that week, then you would just come back the next day, because our trainings are on Tuesday. So you would show up Monday, maybe be interested. And then if you're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, you just come back the next day. So I'm hoping for a great turnout, and I'm hoping that, you know, I can provide as much information to anyone as possible.
Yes.
And help them make their decision on, because that's a lot of the time I'll get people who are interested, but not only do they want more information, they're just like, it's something that I'm really considering, but I want to take the information and kind of make a decision from there.
I need to process it.
So that's what I'm hoping having our case managers there, my supervisor there, will help kind of ease their concerns. And like I said, answer any questions that we might not be able to answer. So
So we haven't really touched on it. What are you mentioned 21 and whatever. So I got to thinking, well, what are the criteria for being a foster parent? Because, you hear all of these weird things out in the
Yeah.
family, you can't have this and you can't do this. And, what are the criteria?
So you have to be 21. Now, Ohio, I think the law is you can be 18, but Necco as a company, you have to be 21.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's across all of our offices. You have to be an Ohio resident. And I say that because we have people who have been inquiring from Marietta, Ohio, which is over 2 hours from us.
Yes.
But it's 2 hours from our office to Marietta, and it's 2 hours from Marietta to our Columbus office.
Oh, man.
But the
Okay.
Parkersburg, West Virginia office is literally right across the river, but they're not. And they've been inquiring with Parkersburg, and Parkersburg's been sending them because they're not West Virginia residents.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So we've been trying to see how many people from Washington County would be interested and try and make accommodations for them if we do get enough people who would want to be foster parents from that area. We've been trying to see, we did a survey to see how many people from that area would be interested, and we've gotten some good feedback. So if we get enough people who actually want to start training and stuff, we've already either us or Columbus will try and make accommodations.
Go to them,
yes,
somehow.
And
that's great.
And that's what we get, people from Kentucky who call, and we have a bunch of offices in Kentucky, so we'll just have to be like, oh, well, while we would love for you to be foster parents with us, you're not an Ohio resident, so we'll have to refer you to our Kentucky office. And so you have to be an Ohio resident, 21 and over.
Okay.
Just financially stable enough to provide basic necessities for a child like you would your own, and just a loving home with a little bit of extra space. Doesn't have to be a lot. Like I said, you could just have 1 extra bedroom. You could have 5 extra bedrooms, but you don't have to. You could have 1 extra bedroom. You can rent, you can own, you can live in an apartment, you can live in a trailer, you can live in a home. Like I said, you can rent or own. We have a lot of people who rent. And part of the documents that you're required is renters or homeowners insurance. So if you rent, then you just provide your renter's insurance. Another thing is you got to be able to pass a background check. And we do those in our office. So it's really convenient because we can do it after training, or we can do it when we come out to do your safety audit. Now, the safety audit is a different thing.
Okay.
First, you have to have a fire inspection, which usually your local fire marshal or whoever has the qualifications to do a fire inspection will do that. So if it was up here, it would probably be the Jackson
fire chief.
Yeah, fire chief.
Yeah.
And if you're going to pass, I always tell people, if you're going to pass the fire inspection, you'll pass our safety inspection. Necco and the state of Ohio just require different things that a fire inspector is not going to look at. Like, one thing is all medications have to be in a locked away out of reach from children, and I don't think a fire chief's going to look for that. So those are things that we look at. And if you have guns, they have to be that, and the ammunition has to be under 2 locks. Like I said, fire inspector's probably not going to look at that. But we have a whole list, and you have access to that list, so you would
provide this to. Here's what you need to do to get your home ready for us to come.
A whole checklist. It's not like we're gonna come in and be like, "Well, you failed because you
suck.
You did not know what you were supposed to do, so we're failing you." That's not we have all of the qualifications, and 8 weeks. It's even longer than 8 weeks sometimes, but you have 8 weeks to kind of review that information. And that's what I always tell people when they start training is, oh my gosh.
You good?
Dust or flew into my mouth or something. I just couldn't breathe for a second. But that's why I tell people when they're interested in starting training is 8 weeks, 7 weeks of curriculum. And I always ask them, do you have a job that requires you to be CPR and first aid certified? And if they're like, yes, I'm like, okay, then it's 7 weeks for you. But if they're not,
okay,
then it's 8 weeks, because that last class is CPR and first aid, which me and our admin do because we are both CPR instructor certified. So we do it at our office. So it's 8 weeks. And then I always tell people to try and get their paperwork done while they're in training. That way, by the time they're done training, if they have all of their paperwork done. The only thing they need is their fire inspection and safety audit. And we usually get that done within a week of them being finished with training, and then probably another week. So it can be like 10 to 11 weeks that you're certified.
Nice.
But if you finish your training and you still have all your paperwork, it's obviously going to be probably another 8 weeks, unless you just like get it done really fast.
Yeah.
So it'll take longer. So I always encourage people, if you want to be certified faster, then
do it along the process.
And the really cool thing is we just switched our system over for how we do paperwork. So we're using this application called Benti now, and it allows our foster parents to upload their own paperwork.
Oh,
and they can keep track of what they've uploaded and what they still need uploaded, and we can see that as well.
Nice.
So we can help them with anything, like if they have things they need to upload still, and we can be like, well, if you just want to send it to us, we'll upload it for you. Or, I mean, they can upload it, and it allows them to keep track instead of before it was all paper. So they would have a checklist, and we would have a checklist that we would check off, which we still use the paper because it's just easier to, because it's double checking everything. So but they would keep a checklist that would come in the paperwork packet, as well as we would keep a checklist to just make track of what they've turned in. But now they can actually see it on their computer or their phone of what is already submitted and what still needs submitted. And obviously some of the things we upload. And so it's really cool because it's more accessible for them, but it also allows us to still keep track of what is needed. And we still have people who prefer the paper, so we still offer you the
like not
paperwork.
Everyone has a computer, believe it or not, in today's world.
And if that is the case, then we would just upload all of that into Benti, which is okay because that's what we had to do with our old application anyway. So it's not really anything different than what we were doing. So
okay. So the whole point is you'll work with people.
Oh yeah, we try to be as accommodating as possible because you're opening your home and your heart to these children. So we try to do as much as we can for you. We try to do a lot for our foster parents and our foster kids. We do a lot of events during the year. We do our upcoming event will be our Halloween event, but we do Halloween.
Fun.
We do a Thanksgiving event where we do foster parent awards every year. We give out awards to all of our foster families, and we do the foster parent of the year. So every year a different foster family will get that foster parent of the year award, but every foster family gets some type of award. There's a bunch of different categories. We do a Christmas event where our foster kids get Christmas presents. Last year we did it at the Marshall Recreation Center at Marshall University. And then we do an Easter event. This past year we had an Easter bunny, and we did an Easter egg hunt. Nice. And then we do a big summer event. We went to Coney Island this year. That was really fun. The kids loved that. I loved that because it was just fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was just fun. So we try to give back to our families and our kids as much as possible.
And I think that's fantastic. And, these kids have had a hard enough time. They need to have some fun. Kids should have some fun.
And they did have fun at that water park.
I'll bet so. And there's your flyer for the trunk or treat that Dylan just put up. So
that is not us.
That's not you? Okay.
No.
Whoops,
that is
way to go,
Louisville.
Dylan.
That is Louisville.
Oh. Okay. So we're just going to skip that.
So if you're
part.
in Kentucky, then you're a foster parent, then go ahead. But if you're in Ohio, you can drive to Louisville if you want to. Maybe Jack Harlow will be there. So,
so I was thinking about some of the questions that people might have, like, are pets allowed in the home?
Yeah, absolutely. We have families with a bunch of different array of pets. We have a family with a skunk, or we've had a family with a skunk. I don't know. We've had families with tarantulas, snakes. I think one of our families still has snakes. We currently have a family with a pig. It's an indoor-outdoor pig.
Cute.
I can't remember what they call her, but I was so excited when we went to do their safety audit because I was like, I want to see the pig.
I just want to see the pig.
Let me see the pig. and I think the kids love it. The kids that they have in their care, I'm sure, love it because what toddlers do not love having an indoor. Like, imagine you were going to a preschool and you get to say, yeah, I have a pig at my house.
Yeah, my pig sleeps on my bed.
And it does. Before we even met the pig, they would show us pictures about how she'd cuddle like a dog. So she's like a dog. She's
so cute.
Yeah, it's so cool. So we have different families with different animals. Like I said, snakes, tarantulas.
You don't have to worry about that with me.
You don't have to worry about that
spiders
with me either.
or snakes
no.
or
we had one
anything like
family
that.
who had 3 dogs, I think, and then they had little turkey, like baby turkeys, and baby chickens, and they had frogs, and they had tarantulas. So they had an array of animals. If it is a dog, cat, and I think a ferret even has to get a rabies shot. I don't know for sure.
That would make sense.
But I know obviously you have to have your we have to have
vaccines,
proof
yeah.
of rabies
Sure.
vaccinations for dogs and cats. But I think ferrets fall under that too. Pigs do not, but I mean, if you want to get your pig rabies vaccinated, that's up to you. And I don't think skunks fall under that either. I'm not sure. I know snakes can't get rabies vaccinated. So, but like dogs and cats, obviously, those are the 2 most common animals that have to have a
Sure.
rabies vaccination. So yeah, you
Makes
can
sense.
have animals. I'm trying to think of another thing that.
Yeah, what are some of the things that people might ask? I know guns would be one.
Okay, so yeah,
Because we
back
live
to
in
the-
Appalachia, come on.
Back to the gun thing. So the way it works is it requires you to have it under 2 locks. And I think that you have to have your guns locked up separately from you can't have the ammo in the gun.
It can't be a loaded gun in the house.
And then
Yeah.
have that locked up. You have to have your guns and your ammunition locked up. And then that has to be locked away too. So like, for example, you could have you could either, if you are filling it and you really want to, you could get one of those fancy gun safes, but you don't have to. You could just have like your gun bag and like put a bike lock on it or something, or
Okay.
like one of those like locks that you would get if you were like going to Planet Fitness or something and wanted to lock your locker.
Yeah, like a locker lock. Yeah.
And then you could have your ammunition stored in a lockbox and have it under one of those bike locks and then put it in a locked closet
Okay.
that a child could not easily get into.
Sure. That makes
So-
total sense.
So there's a lot of ways for it to be under 2 locks. Like I said, put your ammo in a safe or a lockbox or whatever under a lock. Even one of those like little lock boxes that you
Yeah, that you
Like,
keep
you know
your
what-
your documents in and
yeah,
stuff.
and it has like you just roll the code or whatever.
Yep.
And then like if you have your guns in a bag or whatever, just put a little bike lock on that and then put it in a locked closet. So it's not like if you have guns, we're gonna be like no, but you
Sure.
just have to have that under a lock. And then like cleaning supplies and
Okay. Chemicals.
yeah, like any cleaning supplies have to be out of reach from children. So like in a higher cabinet. And then, like I said, with the medications, you have to keep those in a lockbox or in a cabinet that locks or is out of reach, like a cabinet that locks out of reach from children. That way children just cannot get to it easily.
Sure.
And if it's locked, that's obviously going to keep children out of it. Those are the things I can think of right now. I think
That seems about right.
if you have any outdoor recreation equipment, like we ask that. It's not like we're gonna be like, oh well, you can't have that. That's not. It's just like we'll ask if you have a pool or something like that, and if you do, that's fine. You just have to have like a gate around it or something, or
Okay.
and then
Well, that should just be common practice anyway.
yeah.
Like,
And then like we ask like how hot your water gets. Like, is it gonna scald somebody? But it's nothing like crazy. Like we don't tell you like you can't have guns. We just give you
some guidelines. to
yeah, and
follow.
when you
Sure.
have that checklist, it tells you like how you can do it. And we will even tell you too if you ask us like, hey, how can I lock my guns and my ammunition? I'll tell you what I just told you, or
Yeah.
we'll find some way for it to happen. That way we try to help you out as much as we can too, because we're here to support you. We want you to be foster parents, so we'll try and help you as much as we can with any worries you have regarding like the guns or animals if you don't know if they need rabies vaccinations or the medicine cabinet, things like that. So yeah, and I mean we have a lot of families who have different hobbies and interests. Like we have an archery family, so the same way your guns would have to be under lock, your bow and arrows would have to be under lock too. So yeah,
That's cool.
we try to accommodate every family's interests and hobbies. Yeah.
Yeah, because people get into some different things.
They do.
And that's cool.
Like having different animals, like
Yeah,
pigs and
like-
skunks and stuff like that.
I'm just going to tell you, if I could have a pig, I would have a pig.
It
I
was
mean-
so cool seeing that pig. So yeah.
Is it small?
No, it's a big
Oh.
old pig.
A big old pig.
A big old pig. but acts like a dog. So
Does it go out and go potty?
yeah, she has a little mud pen. Like she has a whole pen where she can just roll around in the mud, and then they bathe her and let her back in. Stick her in the bathtub. Stick her in the bathtub. Clean her. She's just like a dog. She sleeps with them, cuddles them. I've seen pictures of her like snuggled up to him like a dog would, or a cat. I don't know. My cats aren't that snuggly. So
Yeah, well, cats just are a whole different breed. That's a whole other situation. Well, that is so cool, and you know, all of this is because there are kids out there with needs, and if you can find it in your heart to become a foster parent, this open house would be the perfect opportunity to get started.
And we can answer any questions you have about if you have any animals that you don't know if they would need rabies vaccination.
I have an aardvark in my
yeah,
house.
I mean,
Is it okay?
If so, then I mean, those are the kind of things that we will be there to answer for you, and ease any of your concerns or hesitations, because we want you to be a foster parent, and if that's something that's in your heart, we want to ease any concerns and hesitations, and we're there for you every step of the way. Even after we get done licensing you, your case managers will be there every step of the way. And I'm not being biased when I say we have the best like our case managers are absolute rock stars. Like they are always there for their families and their kids, and
Love that.
One thing that we have is we have 24/7 support. So if your case manager, like you can call us anytime. If you have an emergency, you can call us any time of the night. And if for some reason you can't reach your case manager, we have someone on call every week. So if you can't call your case manager, whoever's on call will receive that and let us know. And we will be there or answer your needs as soon as we can. So that's something that we have, is that our case managers or us are always on standby if something happens.
Very good. Yeah, so you're not alone out there. You're not like, oh, here's a kid.
No.
Do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No. And I was going to ask you a question, but it's probably a really dumb question. There's not like a typical case, right? They're all so different, I would think.
Yeah.
So
everybody's situation is different. And that's what I say when people are like, well,
like, how long am I going to have this kid?
Or how long will it be until I'm able to adopt them? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't guarantee that first child you get will become adoptable, because every child's situation coming into foster care is different. That child might go back to their biological parents in a week or two. That child might go back in 6 months to a year. That child might go back in 2 years. That child may end up becoming adoptable. But I always tell them every child's situation coming into foster care is different. And so we can't give you an answer because everybody's situation is different.
That makes total sense. And I think that unknown is maybe what freaks people out a little bit.
Yeah. And that's, I think, another reason people are hesitant is because not only will they get attached, they don't know how long they'll have that child. And, and that's why I encourage you to build a relationship with those biological families, because like I said earlier, we have had children who go back to their biological parents but keep the relationship that they had with their foster parents at that time, as like a bonus family, someone they can go spend the night with, hang out with, become kind of that bonus family or an aunt in some sense. So you're not, even though it feels like you're losing that child, you're not, because you're still going to be a part of that child's life. And even if for some reason you don't maintain contact with that child, you still made an impact, a positive impact on that child's life.
Forever be with that child, no matter what.
I mean, our family who's been with Necco for 26 years will be a prime example of making a positive impact. And I'm sure, I don't even know how many children they've had in the 26 years they've fostered, but I'm sure they have maintained contact with a plethora of them.
Yes.
And I mean, 26 years is a long time, and it's not an easy feat to be a foster parent for 26 years, but they are incredible people, incredible foster parents, and they've done so many amazing things for children. So, I mean, we have other foster families who have done it for almost as long. So, yeah.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, go for it.
Yeah,
you know,
and come to our open house.
Come to the open house again, October. So this coming Monday.
This coming Monday, 6 to 8.
Okay.
In our South Point office.
What's the address?
You asked me too quick.
Dylan, what's the address?
I'd have to pull it.
I think it's 178 Private Drive, South Point, Ohio.
There's a number on the end of the private drive, because if you just go to 178 Private Drive, it'll probably take you on some back road that you won't know. It's 178 Private Drive, number. You asked me on the spot.
19423.
Yes. So 178 Private Drive, number 19423.
Only in Appalachia is that an address?
Yep. South Point, Ohio, 45680.
You may as well just say three rocks over to the right and turn
And
at
we're
the big
off like
thing.
Which I don't know how often any of you have been down to the South Point tri-state area, but we are on 52. So if you get like on the bypass and you get off like going to Ironton or whatever, and you just keep going straight, like you're going to Marshall University and Huntington, we're literally off on the highway. Literally there's a sign on the hill that says Necco, and we're just right off there. It looks like we are in the woods, but we're not. Like we are, but we're just right off the highway in the woods. So
Cool.
Yeah. And if you're interested and aren't able to make it to the open house, our phone number is 740-263-2626. Our admin will transfer you to me or Marianne. Marianne is our other licensing associate, who is an absolute treasure. She's a rock star. She handles most of our home studies, and she will answer any questions too. And then you can email me at smatney, matney, at necco.org. Or if you just want to sign up, you can go to necco.org, and it'll pull up the 5 states. Obviously, if you're an Ohio resident, you'll just click Ohio, and it will take you right to the sign up.
That's right, because you have to make sure that you, unfortunately, even if you're 5 minutes across the river, you have to sign up within that state that you live in.
And then if you go through the website and sign up, I will receive that inquiry, and I will reach out to you as soon as I see that inquiry. So usually as soon as it's assigned to me, I will find your number. I was going to say I will find you, but that's not what I meant. I will find you. That's not what I meant at all. I will bring up your contact information when you submit it, and I will send you a text or call you and set up a time that I would be able to provide you with some more information. So I see it. I usually get it pretty soon after they submit it through the website. So I try to stay on top of that. So yeah, if either way, like even if you call, you'll be transferred to me or Marianne, or even if you sign up on the website, I will contact you. So you'll contact me one way or another. Sorry.
You'll talk to this lovely lady.
You'll talk to me one way or another.
I got you.
Yeah, I did not mean, I was like, that's why I hesitated. I was like, I will find your number, not you. Sorry, I will not find you.
It is around Halloween time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been so much fun talking with you, and the need out there is certainly real.
It is very real
for foster kids. Do you have, before I let you go, do you have like numbers of how many kids you place every year?
No,
I mean, because I think that would be staggering.
It probably is. I just can tell
people.
you how many kids we were not able to place, because our corporate Facebook usually publishes the number about at the beginning of every month for that past month. And I think either August or September, well, it is still September. So July or August was around 1,300, I think, kids that we were not able to place because we did not have enough homes.
Yeah, and that's that's way too many.
But we do place a lot of children during the year. As a company, I wish I knew how many kids we place across 5 states. But I'm sure in Ohio it's in the hundreds, probably across in a whole year.
So cool.
In our 4 offices that we have in Ohio, it's probably in the hundreds, because our other offices are Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dayton. So I'm sure
big cities.
Yeah, bigger cities, more children. So I'm sure it's in the hundreds every year.
And it's sad that you have to be here, to be honest with you. Love having you here, but it's sad that it's a thing. But we're so happy that you all are here, to help out our kiddos.
I love coming up here. It's so fun. I like how I said I would not be able to talk for an hour, and I easily have. That's just so on brand for me.
Just let her go.
That is why I love my job, because I just get to talk all the time. So it really makes sense because I come from this background. So
Sure.
I'm used to talking.
Well, yes, you do. Yeah, because you were you did a lot of radio and stuff like that. You went to Marshall, right?
Yup.
Yeah, so you did a lot of stuff
Go
there.
Herd. I worked in Marshall Athletics for 4 years, 2016 to 4.5 years. So 2016 to spring 2021, I worked in Marshall Athletics. COVID kind of ruined this aspect for me, because when I was working in Marshall Athletics, I was a sideline reporter as well as like did stuff like this. So when COVID hit, that kind of eliminated my ability to be a sideline reporter anymore, because they weren't letting anybody on sidelines. So I kind of went behind the scenes and did sports information. But I used to do sit down stuff like this. I did it a lot with, we used to have a show on Wednesdays called Sports View, where we would interview different athletic teams and stuff. And I did it a few times with our soccer team. So Marshall soccer is number 1 in the country. So go Herd. Only undefeated team. Only team that hasn't had any draws either. So
that's super cool. And they did that they did really well last year too, didn't
they have done well every year that I have been following Marshall soccer. This is totally off topic, but we have
3.5 minutes, so we may as well just blab.
I took a class called sportscasting, and our professor, I would say he was my professor, but he was also the director of the radio station, so he was my boss and my professor, so it was like a double whammy. And our job was we would get assigned a beat for the semester, which would be a sport that the only sport we could report on for that class.
Oh, okay.
And so mine was soccer, and that was 2019, and that was when they really started to take off. Like they won.
Lucky you.
Yeah, right? They won the I had plenty of material at all times. They won the conference that year, and then I think that was the year they beat WVU in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and then they got beat in the second round. And then the next year, which COVID, they ended up, I don't think they played in the fall, but they ended up having 2 seasons in 1 year. So 2021, the spring of 2021, they won the national championship. But it was for 2020, even though the season was in spring 2021.
Sure.
So our soccer team literally played a whole season in the spring and then turned around and played a whole nother season in the fall. And I think that's what all colleges did that year. And I think they made the tournament. I can't remember how far they made it in 2021, the fall of 2021. And then last year they made it a few rounds in last year before they got beat. And then this year they have not lost a game. They've not even tied a game, and they are still remain the number 1 team in the country. So
that is awesome.
Yeah. I'm proud.
Yeah,
even though I only know like one person on the team still, but I know the coach because I had to cover them for a whole season. So very happy for them. And Marshall football's done pretty well too so far. So
yeah, for sure, they're really making a name for themselves,
Yeah.
and it's a real pretty campus down there. And Huntington's a fun place.
Yeah,
So.
I mean it is. It's just I've already been to college, so I'm like,
now you're over it.
I'm now like, okay.
Well, maybe we could go back to college. Would you do that if you could?
I'm trying to go back to college, actually.
I'm just going to tell you, I have flipping nightmares about having to go back to school. I literally get like anxiety about
someone who hated elementary, middle school, and high school so much. Like I was that senior who, if I did not have to be there, I was not there. My grades were good, but if I didn't have to be there, I was not coming. I already have my undergrad and a master's. I want to go get another degree from the Ohio State for some odd reason. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I don't know why I want another degree, because I hated school, but I want another degree. So
hey, you go, girl.
Do I need it? Yeah, actually, maybe. But do I want to? Not really. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, I know. There's like people that love school and people that don't. And
I hate it, but I love to continue going, I guess. I love to continue spending money to learn, I guess. So whatever. As long as it pays off in the long run, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what. Thank you for spending your morning with us. It's been so fun. We always enjoy talking with you.
I love coming up here. It's so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Come back anytime.
Don't say that.
Well, you can come back tomorrow. We don't care.
I'll be here way too much.
That's
I'm
all
just
right.
kidding.
That's all
I'm
right. You
just
do
kidding.
it. All right. Well, I tell you what, we have to get out of here for the day. We appreciate you so much for tuning in, and enjoy your hour and 9-minute drive back to South Point.
I'm going to Pike County after
okay.
this, so
I don't know how many hours and minutes that
it's
is.
28 minutes from here, so it'll be like
She knows.
Yeah, I already calculated it.
So for her, it'd be 25.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll be back tomorrow probably with some news. And we thank you so much for stopping in. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.